This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule. The dust is settling across Kern County today after wicked winds whipped our area, causing crashes, road closures, and health concerns. Kern Public Health back at it at the Fairgrounds, offering free vaccines against COVID-19, but now they're adding another service. And Southwest Airlines cancels more flights, and angry travelers aren't buying their explanation. This is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Maddie Jansen. And we begin with breaking news in the case of murdered Instagrammer Gabby Petito. The coroner in Wyoming announcing her cause of death. Officials say the 22-year-old Long Island woman was strangled to death. Meantime, the nationwide manhunt for her missing fiancé, Brian Laundrie, continues. Petito's remains were found on September 19th near a campground in the Bridger-Teton National Forest. Coroner Dr. Brent Blue had previously ruled her death a homicide. Petito and Laundrie were on a cross-country road trip, chronicling their travels on social media before he returned to his parents' home in Northport, Florida, September 1st without his fiancée. Laundrie reportedly went for a hike September 14th and didn't return. So far, police have only called Laundrie a person of interest in their investigation into Petito's disappearance. Well, back here at home today, the dust is settling after blustery winds blew through Kern County yesterday. The National Weather Service issued a red flag warning in the San Joaquin Valley as winds picked up yesterday afternoon. The blowing dust was so bad in some areas, Caltrans closed southbound Highway 14 and southbound Sierra Highway because of reduced visibility and crashes. In addition to the danger on the roads, high winds and drought conditions making for extremely bad air quality and high fire risk. Several minor car accidents were reported around the county because of the blowing dust. And meantime, health experts say the strong winds also contribute to an increased risk of catching valley fever.
This is the peak of the valley fever season, and when we have a day like this with the wind blowing, we call it a coxy day, because almost inevitably the spores that are in the dirt that cause coccidioidomycosis, or valley fever as it's more commonly known, are going to definitely be blowing around in the air, and the risk of catching the disease on a day like today is clearly going to be higher.
Dr. Royce Johnson, medical director of the Valley Fever Institute at Kern Medical, says everyone is at risk on a day like yesterday, and he expects a spike in new cases. He recommends keeping your windows closed and making sure your air filters are working properly. Pacific Gas and Electric says public safety power shutoffs that affected about 600 homes and businesses here in Kern County are no longer active. We're following some developing news in Santa Barbara County, where a brush fire is burning near El Capitan State Beach. The Alisal fire broke out yesterday afternoon near the Alisal Reservoir. It's already scorched about 6,000 acres and is still 0% contained as of last check. Officials say the fire jumped Highway 101 yesterday, shutting it down in both directions. Evacuations are underway for the Refugio Canyon area, as well as El Capitan State Park and El Capitan Campground, east to Dos Pueblos Canyon. The fire is being fanned by strong winds and may be threatening as many as 100 structures, including ranches and homes. Now to the latest on the pandemic and the FDA's meeting set for later this week on booster shots for those vaccinated with Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. The safety hearing comes amid good news, with new cases and hospitalizations dropping across the country. National correspondent Miguel Almaguer is in Los Angeles with more.
Overnight, a shot across the bow in the culture wars over the COVID vaccine. Texas Governor Greg Abbott issuing an executive order banning all state entities, including private businesses, from requiring vaccination from anyone who objects based on a religious belief or for medical reasons, including prior recovery from COVID-19. Abbott adding the COVID-19 vaccine is safe, effective, and our best defense against the virus, but should remain voluntary and never forced. The country is at a crucial point in the fight against the virus, with cases declining in areas where vaccinations are high, but that trend requiring the rest of the country get vaccinated. A staggering 67 million who were eligible to be inoculated still refuse to do so.
there is light at the end of the tunnel, but we're still losing upwards of 10,000 Americans plus every week.
It comes as those Americans who are vaccinated now wondering if they need another shot. With nearly 8 million Americans having already received their booster shot from Pfizer, at the end of this week, the FDA could begin to clear the way for the first Moderna and Johnson & Johnson boosters. A federal safety panel set to meet Thursday and Friday in what will be another closely watched hearing.
We're at that critical point, October 19th, where a majority of the country has been vaccinated for at least 6 months. And that's the sweet time period of when we would see breakthrough infections.
Many experts believe boosters for some will be green-lighted as they were for Pfizer when older Americans and those at higher risk were cleared for a third dose. The FDA will also hear more on the effectiveness of mixing different vaccines to boost immunity. This morning, as the U.S. continues to suffer devastating setbacks, our nation is also taking steps forward in the battle against COVID.
Miguel Almaguer reporting. And now to the latest numbers here at home. Kern Public Health announced another 295 new cases and 4 new deaths this morning. 1,596 people have died from COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. There are 257 people in the hospital with more acute symptoms of the virus and 82 in the ICU. That's the highest number of patients in the ICU for COVID-19 since the start of the third surge. As of October 11th, 510 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine have been administered to Kern County residents. 390,541, or 51.8% of Kern's eligible population, have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Kern Public Health is opening a vaccine clinic at the Fairgrounds today. It started this morning. Public Health says they saw a lot of success with their vaccine clinic during the Kern County Fair, administering about 370 shots. Now that the fair's over, vaccines are set to continue. The walk-up clinic is open today through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pfizer vaccines will be available for everyone 12 and up. Public Health is also offering free flu shots at the Fairgrounds. You're encouraged to make an appointment at myturn.ca.gov, but an appointment is not required.
Clinica Sierra Vista is now offering rapid COVID-19 testing and COVID-19 vaccinations. Call 833-278-4584 to make your appointment. But don't delay. Clinica Sierra Vista, putting patients first.
From our 17 News follow-up file now, a father-to-be who died in a motorcycle crash over the weekend was remembered last night. The biker community came together to support the family of 26-year-old Nicholas Armstrong. They gathered near White Lane and Ash Road, the area where Armstrong was killed Sunday night. Police say the driver of an SUV was making a U-turn when Armstrong hit the side of the vehicle and was killed.
Nick was a very passionate person. He was a man of virtue. He loved one woman. Leaves behind a pregnant wife. Never going to have the opportunity to be a true father himself. But I have children, and you couldn't ask for a better uncle.
Armstrong's family urges drivers to be more aware of motorcycles so that accidents like this don't happen. The Kern County Veteran Stand Down event is back after being canceled last year due to the pandemic. The California Assistance Foundation is hosting the event this Thursday at Stramler Park. The Stand Down is a safe retreat for all veterans, including homeless vets, to get supportive services on health, housing, and so many other services. They have meals, clothing, haircuts, medical assistance, employment and housing assistance, and more. Gates open at 8 a.m. and run until 3 p.m. In sports news now, and this morning, the Las Vegas Raiders are searching for a new head coach. John Gruden has resigned after a report in the New York Times revealed he casually and regularly used racist, homophobic, and misogynistic language in email rants about NFL leaders, players, and referees. NBC's Steve Patterson has the latest.
Overnight, a stunning fall from grace broadcast to millions of primetime football fans.
Breaking news tonight, John Gruden out as Las Vegas Raiders head coach.
NFL coach and former Monday Night Football analyst John Gruden announcing his exit as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders after emails uncovered as part of a separate investigation revealed a torrent of sexist, racist, anti-gay language aimed at a slew of targets ranging from players to league officials. In a statement to the team, Gruden saying in part, "I love the Raiders and do not wish to be a distraction. I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt anyone." The emails, confirmed by the NFL but not seen by NBC News, were initially discovered during an NFL workplace misconduct investigation into the Washington football team while Gruden was an analyst for ESPN. Last week, it was learned Gruden used a racist trope to describe NFL Union Chief DeMaurice Smith in a 2011 email, writing Dumborius Smith has lips the size of Michelin tires. Then the floodgates opened last night with a New York Times report detailing even more troubling emails showing Gruden using offensive language to insult NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, also calling the league's first openly gay player Michael Sam a queer, disparaging players who protested during the national anthem, panning the hiring of female referees, and mocking league efforts to reduce concussions.
It wasn't just something that crossed his mind, which is bad, but that he then took that thought, formalized it in a writing, and hit send. People say all sorts of things sort of on the cuff that they shouldn't. This is more than that.
According to the Times, Gruden also exchanged emailed photos with other men showing women wearing only bikini bottoms, including NFL cheerleaders. In a statement, the league slammed Gruden's actions, calling them appalling, abhorrent, and wholly contrary to the NFL's values.
Steve Patterson reporting. And now to Major League Baseball, with the Dodgers hosting the Giants for Game 3 of the National League Division Series. Going into last night's game, the series was tied at 1 apiece, with the Dodgers hoping to take the lead. It was scoreless until the 5th inning when Evan Longoria homered off Max Scherzer, making it 1-0. And that's how it would stay. The Giants take a 2-1 lead in their NL Division Series. Game 4 is today, also at Dodger Stadium. Game 5 is in San Francisco on Thursday, if necessary. The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.